I'm the Community Education Coordinator at Keep Growing Detroit. We hope you guys are staying safe at home. We are doing an education series on our Instagram Live and Facebook Live to try to get some info to you guys so you guys can keep growing. I'm here with Molly, who is one of our farmers at KGD Farm, and she's going to be talking about germ testing. Okay. Cool.
We good?
Yeah.
Excellent. Hi guys, I'm Molly. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk about germ testing and what you can do at home to make sure that the seeds that you guys have been hoarding, because I know you are, because I am, are going to work for you in your garden this year. So, again, as growers, I feel like we probably have at least one of these bins in our kitchen or our living room or in our garage. I have several of these in my house. This is my kind of forgotten seed stash. So this is full of things that I picked up over the years. Stuff that's like half, used. This is from, 2017, sometimes 2015. And every year when I'm looking at what I want to plant, I go back to this bin and I see if there are any crops, any varieties that I want to maybe try again. Because some of these seeds are definitely worth investing in and definitely worth some time to maybe put in your garden. So don't worry, we all do it. Let me show you how to make sure that you're not wasting any time or precious space in your garden by making sure that these are viable seeds. And so let me show you what I do. So I go through and I say, okay, this year I'm probably going to want to try something good. Yeah. So I have some older radicchio. So hot right now. Bitter greens. So hot.
So in.
So in. But before I direct sow these into my planting space, with older seeds, yeah, you want to make sure that you're not gonna just be waiting forever for seeds that aren't gonna germinate, because you could have planted something else in that time. So what I'm gonna do, put this back in the basement, is I'm gonna grab these, and then I'm going to assemble a bunch of materials. So what you need, and these are things that pretty much everyone has in either their kitchen or their basement or their garage. Definitely water, tape, we've got paper towels, clean, fresh paper towels, also these days, protective equipment, right? You can germ test things in either glass jars, if it's what you've got, like baby food containers and something like that. Or the old Ziploc sandwich bag. And here at KGD we have tons of these little seed Ziploc baggies too, which are really great. But whatever works. If you have saran wrap and just a plate, a little plate, you can do that too. So you need plastic, paper towel, or a container, and then labeling supplies. Some people use pencil. I like to use marker because I water something in the area and then I've lost all my marks, so pencil or marker. And this is really important. A thermometer, you can get this for $2 at Home Depot. Don't go there right now, just have it ordered and delivered contactless, but this is a $2 thing. Most people have them kicking around, and I'll tell you why this is important in a second. And that's pretty much it. So, next step is to do a little bit of research. Couple things that you need to know about your seeds before you do the germ test. And this may take a little bit of internet research, but not all seeds germinate at the same temperature or with the same light exposure. And also you need to know how many days typically it takes for these seeds to germinate, because you're going to be watching them in the environment. So sometimes this information is on the seed packet itself, But in this case, it is not.
Fun.
So what you can do is Google search for, in this case, radicchio germination best practice or germination needs, and the internet is going to give you a temperature range at which the majority of these seeds should germinate, and it should tell you whether it needs light or no light in order to germinate, and the days. So those are the three things you really need to know in order to do this correctly. Next step. 80 days. I'm just looking at this. Yeah, none of that is on the seed packet. So in this case, I would have to look online. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you write on your bag or on your saran wrap. If you're using saran wrap on a plate, grab a piece of tape and write this down. But you're going to write the crop and the variety. You're going to write the temperature window, and you're going to write the number of days to germination for that crop. And then you're going to write the date that you started germinating them, or you actually sealed the bag and started watching them. So in this case, radicchio, Treviso, today's date, and I actually know off the top of my head with a lot of seeds, the appropriate temperature range for a lot of seeds is 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, but that changes based on what kind of crop you're trying to germinate. So I'm going to write 65 to 70 so that I can be watching that, right? And for radicchio, I think it's 8 to 10 days. Of course, after this video, I'm going to go double check this and then edit my notes. And that'll do. Okay, then paper towel. So you want to get, this is important, you want to make sure that the paper towel isn't super soaking wet. If you're pressing on it and you see that water is kind of welling up next to your finger, it's too wet. You want it to be moist but not dripping. So make sure that you get it totally wet and then squeeze out a lot of that excess moisture. Next, you're going to kind of unfold it a little bit. Okay? And then you're going to sprinkle out. This is a small seed packet. There aren't a lot of seeds in here. In germinating these seeds and doing a test, you are sacrificing some of your seeds. So if you have a lot of seeds, you can do multiples of 10, 20, 30 seeds at a time in your germ test, because you're going to have plenty of extras, and once you know how many are viable. If you only have for example, a precious couple of seeds and you really don't want to waste them in a germ test, two options. One is you start those seeds in soil, not in your garden, but in soil inside as transplants at the appropriate time. And if they make it, amazing. And if they don't, you didn't waste any space in your garden. So that's one thing you can do. If you only have 5 or 10 seeds, you can also germ test them. And then once they've sprouted, what you want to do is, you don't want to peel, I'll show you an example, you don't want to peel the little germinated seeds off of the paper and plant them, because they're really, really fragile. What you want to do is take a pair of clean scissors and make sure the scissors are really clean, and you're going to cut those seeds off, keeping the paper on them, and then plant those into a transplanting media or potting soil like that, so that you're not disturbing them. But that's one way you can save your germ test plants or seedlings if you don't have a lot of them to work with. But in this case, we've plenty to work with, so I'm going to sacrifice 10. Tricky because these are tiny, and I'm wearing gloves. And then what you want to do is you want to give them a fair amount of space so they're really obvious. You say maybe a 1/4 inch between each one of them, and just line them up on your paper. And I have so many extra. There. 10. Excellent. And you want to make sure that there's a little bit of a space between them, especially with bigger seeds like beans and corn, because if one starts to grow mold, because this is a closed environment with heat and water and moisture, if one of those starts to grow mold, in doing your daily checks, you can remove it, and hopefully it doesn't spread to the rest of the seeds in your test. So yeah, give them a little bit of space. Give them a little bit of space, and then you're just gonna fold that over like that. And then this goes in your baggie. Some people say keep the bag open. Some people say keep the bag closed. If it's closed, you're going to be watching for any kind of like mold growth. And if it's open, you're going to have to go in and with a spray bottle. It's like this, don't dump water in here. Use a spray bottle with clean water. And you're just going to have to re-moisten the towel more often. So like that. And then what I would do is I would find in my house a spot that's 65 to 70 degrees, and I would put this right next to it so that I could watch the temperature. And if you're noticing that the temperature's not holding around there, you gotta move it to another spot. In my house, that's usually the bathroom. The bathroom is usually the warmest place in my house, but in your house it may be different. And if it's the case that these don't need light to germinate, don't put them in a windowsill. That may be the warmest place in your house, but if it's a seed variety that doesn't need or doesn't want light, you may actually get a false germination test, because those guys may not be germinating, but it's not because they're not viable. So think about that. So again, days to germination, very important. The temperature range at which the majority of those seeds want to germinate, the date that you are starting your test, and definitely the crop and variety. All of that on here. Excellent. So let me show you what I did. So, this totally happens to me all the time. So, I got a bag. This is actually very precious to me. You would never know it because it looks like just a Ziploc bag full of random stuff. But this is actually glass gem corn. It's really fancy, and this actually was harvested by my friend at Baker Creek Seeds, like farm.
Wow.
So it's like really dear to me, but it came to me like this, with nothing on it. So I actually didn't even have like information. So I just did a germ test. So I wrote out glass gem corn. I assumed it was 2018. I actually think it was more like 2016, whatever. I did 10 seeds. They don't need light, 65 to 70 degrees, and it takes 5 to 8 days for them to germinate. So, and this is really hard to see, so I'm going to lay these out and then you can take a look at them. These have only been in that ideal temperature range for a couple days. So this was kind of a surprise to see today. I'm going to lay these out so you can see them. Like that. And also see how pretty they are.
Yeah.
Glass gem corn has every color of the rainbow on the same cob. So it's really beautiful. So see if you can see, you're looking for the radical, so the root initial, to come out and erupt from that seed. That tells you it's probably going to make it. So check it out.
Oh, wow. So you can see on the red kernel and the last one, that's kind of like light purple, it started, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Cool.
So pretty cool. So if I were to wait a couple more days, I'd wrap this up, put it back in its happy environment. Right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm missing one. I'm just going to say there were 10. It looks like there were 9. Okay. So if this were 10, and I've got 8 of them that germinated, right? That's an 80% germination rate. That's why we do it in multiples of 10 or multiples of 5, whatever. So it's all expressed as a percentage of. So we have an 80% germination rate. You get that number by dividing the number that germinated by the number of seeds you started. So 8 divided by 10. So 80% germination rate, that's excellent. That's something that you can work with. My recommendation to you is that if you're seeing less than 60% germination, maybe don't direct sow those guys. That means that just over that's potentially wasting a lot of space in your garden. And if you have a lot, like a fairly small garden, that's maybe space you can't afford. So if you're seeing 80% or higher, that's great. 60%, maybe think about it. Maybe do some transplants in your house so that like it's not taking up garden space. But this, for me, is a decent enough germination rate to maybe start some transplants.
Sweet. Sweet.
And then I wrap these up, and I put them back in here.
Nice.
And then a while from now, I get to have my own glass gem corn, which I'm very excited about.
Sweet. Cool.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Molly. So we will be back next Wednesday at 3 o'clock learning about TBD, a topic that's TBD. But tune in, and the video on Instagram will be available for the next 24 hours, and the video on Facebook will be posted to our timeline. Shoot us a comment if there's some other topics you'd like us to cover, or if you had any questions about today's germ testing class. Hope to see you soon, and hope you guys are staying safe.